Hello YouTube and fellow DC comic fans, I'm Keith One Shot, and this is my Comic Complete dramatic reading series, and today we will be covering DC Rebirth, Batman in the Shadow, Part 2. All art, text, characters, and storylines belong to DC Comics and Dynamite, not me. If you enjoy these stories, feel free to go out and support DC Comics and your local comic book shops. We start this issue out in the French Alps. Bruce Wayne takes off his jacket and pulls out a Batman cowl and puts it on as he enters the building. You came to the court hunting the Shadow. Instead, you found him living inside your mentor. You move in the world and the world moves around you, a voice says to Bruce. Batman then replies by saying, Lamont Cranston is dead. You left his body in Gotham City. You think you found Cranston's killer, the voice replies, and Bruce says, I don't think, I know. Ha 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 ha. It is then revealed that the voice is the Shadow, and him and Bruce both pull out a sword as they're both ready to fight each other. Reason softens you. Time slackens your mind. I did not kill Cranston, the Shadow says. You attacked me in his home. I saw the weapon in your hand, Bruce replies. The Shadow answers back, only a fool trusts his eyes, and Bruce says, I trust my mind, and it got me to you. The Shadow replies, are you so sure, Bruce? We hunt the same killer. The sword fight continues and gets more intense, and Batman is done with the sword and switches to throwing punches and yells out, You're the killer, Cranston! Not this killer, Bruce, says the Shadow, and Bruce yells out, asking, The first Cranston died decades ago. I ran facial recognition. You're a perfect match. Why did you kill your descendant? Then the Shadow tells Bruce, Cranston is one of the many faces I've worn over the centuries. Lazarus, Dynesium, there are many ways to stay young. Everyone thinks they're a mystery. I'll prove you killed Cranston. Prove who you are. The Shadow then replies, a waste of time. Though Cranston Killer does still lurk your streets, and he is not finished. The stag has come for Gotham's best. Reason will not defeat him. Convenient alibi. I won't play your game. The Shadow then replies, this is not a game. It's a glimpse of a world you found. The Shadow then goes on to tell Bruce, I've lived many lives, all branching from one legendary butcher. After exhausting all the horrors man can endure, I turned my eyes to a greater power. Shambhala, a promised land for men whom depravity has long mundane. The Shadow tells Batman, I didn't find power there, I found perspective, and was given a choice. With all of my sins laid on my heart, I could either let the weight crush my soul, or relieve it by preying on my own mind. Then the Shadow goes on to say, so the Shadow was made, undying, unyielding, unfeeling, trained to cloud the minds of men, and charged to punish the worst of the world. For all of your wars, Bruce, do you not truly know that evil lurks in the hearts of men? He ends by saying, I do, and the stag worships it. The Shadow tells Bruce about the stag, how the stag is aimed at punishing the world's best, as the Shadow punishes the world's worst, telling Bruce that he has killed the stag hundreds of times, only to see him rise again, and that Batman cannot fight him alone. Batman asks the Shadow, you want help? Start with the truth. How do you know about me? The Shadow then tells Bruce, I trained you for years through the card and my other faces. Batman replies with, no, I would have known. You're either lying or you knew a killer was coming into Gotham and you allowed it. Batman then with more anger says, sounds like you couldn't finish your vendetta, so you used my city as bait. I'll find Cranston's killer. If it's you, lies won't stop me. Suddenly, Batman is all alone. The Shadow has vanished, but not before laughing at Bruce and saying, the truth is all I've ever needed. We then cut to Long Island, New York, at a mansion, where an elderly rich couple asks their master, what more can we give? The old woman says, you saved my life 80 years ago. When is my debt paid? The master replies, Harry Vincent, Margot Lane, you listen to me. You're both at risk. Margot then replies to her master saying, good Lord, listen to yourself. What are you talking about? Talk to me like a human. Talk to me as Lamont, damn it. As it turns out, their master is the Shadow, and he tells Margot and Harry that this warning is one of my last acts as the man you once knew, and then the Shadow tells them both that the stag has arisen, and that the stag has killed one of Cranston's descendants. Margot tells the Shadow that he never cared about them or Lamont, Margot saying, you stole his face. The Shadow and Margot argue some more, and the Shadow says, this war of theirs is coming to its climax soon. Margot then tells the Shadow that he's used them over the years like ammunition, and that now he's trying to use Batman the same way. Margot also tells the Shadow that he needs to remind himself of his humanity and not to bury it, and that it's because the stag understands humanity that he's able to better find his kills, and that's the only way you'll find him. At the Batcave, Bruce is going over the case with Alfred, and Alfred jokes that the Shadow looks a bit like my mate from the service days, Master Bruce. Bruce then asks Alfred not to call him Master and says that's what his agents call him. Bruce then says, there's no way that the Shadow knew my grandfather. There's no way he's Descartes either. I knew Henry. There has to be an explanation for him, but the evidence is circumstantial. Bruce then thinks to himself how the Shadow could be telling the truth about Stagg, and thinks about how the Shadow told Bruce Stagg only kills the best of us. Just then, Bruce starts connecting all of the dots. Cranston was recently awarded a Humane Award for his work at Arkham Asylum, and a few months ago, Bruce also saved Barry O'Neill, a philanthropist who also won the Humane Award this year. But after Bruce saved Barry O'Neill, he later died in a home invasion, and then Bruce thinks to himself, they gave out 3 Humane Awards this year, and the third was given to Dr. Leslie Tompkins. She must be the Stagg's next victim. Over at Dr. Leslie Tompkins' free clinic, we see Dr. Tompkins. She's going over a patient she's recently treated, a man named Mr. Lone. She's saying Mr. Lone is recovering, but it's proving difficult. Dr. Tompkins then says, he came in raving about a man in red and black, a man who laughed inside his head. Leslie jokes to herself, ha, that's a fun rhyme. We hear scratches at the wall and see a dark figure lurking behind Leslie Tompkins. The dark figure is the Stag, and he grabs Dr. Tompkins and he raises his dagger, ready to kill her, as just then the Batman bursts in through the glass roof and kicks the Stag to the ground, and Batman says, expecting someone else? The two fight back and forth in the clinic, Stag trying to stab and slash at Batman, and Batman throwing kicks and punches at the Stag. Stagg tells Batman, I fought Cranston. You're not him, though the results will be the same. Then Stagg catches Batman's ankle and wrenches it down in pain on Batman's ankle, all but breaking it. Batman then asks Stagg, what are you? And Stagg replies, I'm an honest signal, which sends fear into Batman. Just then, Dr. Leslie Thompson calls out, stop! Stand up! Let go of Batman or I'll shoot! Stagg lets go of Batman, and Batman yells to Dr. Tompkins, no! And Batman gets up and fights Stagg, telling him, you won't touch her! With Stagg now on the ground, Batman pleads to Leslie not to shoot Stagg. Not here. Leslie is scared and nervous and doesn't want her patients to get hurt. She aims the gun at Stagg, and Batman says, Leslie, please, I know how you feel. You're angry, but if you pull that trigger, you'll regret it before the shell hits the ground. Then Leslie replies, saying, Gibson, O'Neill, Cranston, Batman. Just then, Dr. Tompkins fires a shot at Stagg. Batman tries to stop her, but it's too late. The bullet flies towards Stagg, hitting him right in the head. Batman asks Leslie, what are you doing? How could you fire? Leslie replies, saying, simple, Batman. There are debts, and there are debts to pay. Batman questions Leslie, wait, you knew those names. Was the Shadow here? Did he get to you? Did he tell you to? We then see the Stag falling out of the window in his dying words, saying, I am an honest signal. Batman checks out the window for Stag's body, but he's gone. Once again, Batman, ha ha ha, the truth defeats you. It turns out that who we just thought was Leslie Tompkins was really the Shadow in disguise. Batman in anger grabs the Shadow by the collar and demands to know what the Shadow has done with Dr. Tompkins. The Shadow tells Batman, Leslie is safe. She's with one of my agents. Don't be a child. I took her place to protect her. Batman, more pissed than ever, screams at the Shadow, you shot him through the head. I saw the wound, smelled the blood. Heard him hit the ground. He should be dead, but he's gone. I told you, Stagg cannot die, the Shadow replies. Everyone can die, Batman says. Not all are bound by mortal rules. You must accept that, just as you must accept me, says the Shadow. Just then, Batman shocks the Shadow with a stun device on his glove and tells the Shadow, you ruin lives. You murder criminals. Maybe you didn't kill Cranston, but I'm taking you off the board. On the ground, the Shadow says to Batman, listen to me, Stagg seats Shambhala. Evil is the key as it was when I found it. He tarnished his soul with hundreds of kills. He needs but one more. We must find him, Bruce. Bruce then says, I don't need you for that. If Stagg wants to find evil in Gotham, I'll know where he'll look. We then see none other than the Clown Prince of Crime himself, the Joker, and the knife of Stagg on the floor, ending this issue of Batman in the Shadow, Part 2. Comic by DC Comics and Dynamite. All rights, story, arts, and characters are owned by DC Comics and Dynamite and their respective owners, not me. This has been Batman in the Shadow Part 2, and I'm your host, Keith One Shot. If you like this video, make sure to support DC Comics and Dynamite and pick up a copy of the trades or single issue comics. Support your local comic book shop, take care, and have a great day. Goodbye.